The legend of the Kotolibaco is one of my favourites to come out of Nichan over the years. I've covered this story on Kowabana before, so I'll leave a link in the comments if you want to go and check that out. But the basic premise sees a Nichan user coming across a mysterious box that has the power to curse people, women and children especially. As he and his friends unravel the mysteries behind it, they discover that it was built to, in essence, eradicate entire families, and it's a custom that's several hundreds of years old. But is there any truth to the story? It has since become one of the most famous scary stories to ever come out of Nichan, but is it all fake, or is there at least some truth to it? The Kotoribako is said to come from Shimane Prefecture, which is where I lived. According to the story, after a villager tried to cause an uprising on the island of Oki in 1868, he failed and fled to Shimane Prefecture on the mainland. He ended up in a small village that, at the time, saw mass discrimination taking place. Because these villagers were facing such harsh oppression by the people governing them, the man agreed to teach them a way to dispose of the village leadership. A curse that would eradicate them entirely. The curse of the Kotoribako. This curse isn't so immediate in English, but in Japanese it's pretty easy to infer what it is. Kotori means to take or steal children, and bako means box. A box for taking children. The man teaches the oppressed villagers how to make the boxes. There are 8 in total, with each box number representing how many children are used to make it. To make a Kotoribako, you must first build a puzzle box and fill it with the blood of a female beast. A week later, you place the lid of that box on before the blood inside it has dried up. Then you place the body part of a child up to the age of 10 inside. Generally a forefinger or umbilical cord. The more body parts you use from different kids, the stronger the curse will be. In theory, this should only be done by men. Women and children can't go near the box. It will cause them to get violently ill, vomiting blood before they die. In the story, it does exactly this to the governing family's women and children, and the villagers realize the man from Oki was indeed telling them the truth. He taught them a terrifying curse, but before he left, he warned them never to make a hakkai, a Kotoribako with 8 children inside. He never tells them why, only warns them not to do it. The Oki Rebellion mentioned in the story was a real event, taking place in 1868, as mentioned. To make a long and complicated story very short, the islanders living on Oki were unhappy with how they were being governed by the mainland, and they wished to govern themselves. After much fighting, order was restored, but it's from this rebellion that the Kotoribako story spins off, seeing an islander from Oki fleeing to the mainland and ending up somewhere in what is now Shimane Prefecture. Now, it's obviously impossible one way or the other to determine whether this man ever existed, but there is some interesting evidence to back up the story of the cursed box. The story of Kotoribako was posted to Nichan in 2005. Only 1 year later, in 2006, reports broke out that a certain unnamed shrine in Shimane found a mysterious box in their storehouse when it was torn down for renovations. It looked just like a puzzle box, and instantly people started to whisper that it might be the Kotoribako. Yet, somebody supposedly took the box home, perhaps because of its interesting design, and it disappeared. No one knows where it is now, or so the story goes. I was unable to find any news confirming this story ever really took place, although you can find numerous articles claiming that it did, so take it with a grain of salt. The village where the original story took place can supposedly be found in the north of Shimane Prefecture as well. This would make sense, because if the man was fleeing Oki, this is likely where he'd first end up, and the story mentions the village being located in the mountains, which you can find plenty of in North Shimane. The villagers ended up making 16 boxes over the 13 years following the man's arrival, many of which were later collected by Shinto priests in the area for safekeeping, while a few of the families involved kept them on a rotation until their powers diminished, which is how the Nichan user's friend apparently found one in the story. If so, does that mean the puzzle box supposedly found in Shimane a year after the story was posted was from one of the shrines keeping them safe? It certainly seems like a possibility, but if we take the story at face value, the priests looking after the boxes know how powerful they are and also how to deal with them. Unless a box got lost along the way, it seems odd one would show up and nobody at the shrine would have any idea what it was. And that's if this box even existed in the first place. And as for the story itself, several points have been brought up over the years criticizing its veracity. First of all, there are no mentions in any historical documents anywhere in Shimane's history that mention such a puzzle box. Anywhere. There's no mention in records, even from tiny villages way out in the middle of nowhere, of the village leaders losing their entire families to mysterious illnesses or anything of the sort. Others have also criticized the way the story pretty much ignores that one of the characters' mothers touched the box and it had no effect on her. It's brushed away as maybe she's going through menopause, but it seems like an oversight that the Nichan user didn't put much thought into. If the Kotolibaco was really as powerful as it's claimed to be in the story, then she should have died, or at the very least, gotten violently ill. Yet, nothing ever happened to her. Nobody even seems worried that she handled this box they've just learnt kills women and children. The author of the story also makes a mistake with the numbers given for the number of children sacrificed and the number of boxes made, which other users in the thread immediately called them out on. Now, this could be explained as a simple typo, or perhaps the user wasn't thinking about the numbers so much, but it slightly takes away from the story's credibility. Is the Kotoribako real? Was the story posted to Nichan real? Both seem unlikely. There have been rumors over the years of real Kotoribakos potentially being found in shrines in Shimane, but there is no evidence that this is anything other than a story as well. The original post gives us all sorts of information and locations from history, and yet nothing has ever been found anywhere that even hints that any of the events could have taken place. No puzzle boxes, no weird deaths, nothing. At best, it's likely that Kotoribako was a fabricated story for Nichan that took real places and events and crafted a terrifying story around them. The fact that the user posted parts of the story in real time over several days helped add authenticity at the time, but it was hardly a unique idea, even at the time. Could a real Kotoribako exist somewhere out there? As they say, anything's possible, but based on the evidence we have on hand, it's unlikely. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.